Howdy, howdy. I just have to share this. So interesting. I should know better too. So I've been following this guy on Instagram forever, and I like most people, you follow someone for a long time, they push out similar content. So you might lose interest or you just don't pay attention as much, whatever. And he posted something this morning, and because I'm really passionate about this subject, I commented. And, the social media vultures, attacked very quickly. Basically, this guy put out a video with real statistics talking about how the uptake of casual encounters between men and women, so he was coming from a heterosexual perspective, what it's doing to authentic connection and real intimacy. And there's this stat, and I do apologize. I feel like I should know this to paint a clearer picture, but I don't recall. But it was something like, if a person has more than 20 partners prior to marriage, they have a 70% increase in divorce. It was like a pretty high percentage. I believe the number was around 20 as far as like partners. And I mean, this guy is not saying anything that's like so, oh my God, out there. So men were included in the post. Men and women were in the video. It was very clear that this was not a misogynistic thing. But I spoke up as a woman, and I mentioned the postmodern feminist movement. And as a mother of 2 daughters, I've watched their friends be balled up in a corner, desolate and lonely, because they're just sleeping around, when deep down inside, I think a high majority of people are really craving a real connection with somebody. And it's just like a trend. It's a thing to do. And these kids are young. And I made it more of a female thing because women get a hit of oxytocin and we get very attached to a partner. Sex is a gateway to emotional connection and attachment for a woman. Statistically speaking, you can look at stats on this. This is scientifically backed. Relational psychology, general psychology. Men do not get attached to women through sex the way a woman does. I'm not saying it never happens for a man, but statistically speaking, women do get attached because of that hit of oxytocin. And our female parts, that pelvic bowl is sacred and it's a portal. And energetically speaking, we can't handle all of these different men infiltrating that. I mean, I think there needs to be a high level of discretion. And I've only met 2 women in my life. I'm going to be 48 in November. I'm not like, I've been around the block a couple times. I have some lived real life experience. And, I've only met like 2 women who were able to do this functioning more like a man. And all I was saying was, statistically speaking, I don't think that this is creating healthy dynamics, healthy relationships. I think these young girls have an extremely warped view of what real empowerment is. And this guy, Tim, was talking about that in his post. How, there's this idea that this is real empowerment. It's not empowerment. It's bullshit. Well, I just got called a misogynist by so many women. One woman saw that I was a yoga teacher, and right away she's like, I can't stand all of these self-proclaimed gurus that, think they're enlightened. And I was like, way to lead with emotional intelligence. Like, you don't even know me. Like, I don't even believe in gurus. I am the least enlightened person. Like, it's just amazing to me how attacked you get because you're just saying something they don't like. They don't agree with it. I even said back to one woman, prove me wrong. Like, send me the statistics. Because she's like, I can't believe a woman is so misogynistic and you're just making this a female thing. And I was like, I do a lot of work in the world for men's like suicide awareness and prevention, because gay men and middle-aged men have the highest rates of either planning it or being successful. Like, I do a lot of work for men's health and wellness. It's just amazing to me how people just come at you with all these harsh judgments and criticisms because you're saying something that they don't like. And I mentioned the postmodern feminist movement, and I was like, this is not real. This was not the intention of the feminist movement. It never was. The women who created the feminist movement were not saying, go have sex with whoever you want because that's going to make you an empowered woman. It was more about equality. It was really geared towards the women who were getting the shit kicked out of them behind closed doors, those 1950s women who didn't have a voice and there was no choice. So it's like, you know, and then I want to say to all these women, go live with the Muslims. Like, go have no rights at all. You know, I hiked yesterday with my friend from India, and it's such a patriarchal country. You know, men really rule the roost. Even as a woman, if you are a daughter and you get married and you're in an abusive relationship, you cannot get out of that unless your father or your father-in-law says it's okay. Like, he was telling me to this day how life is there. And we were talking about this. American women have no idea how independent we are, how much of a voice we really have, and how many choices we have. There is so much repression and oppression of female sexuality and female power all over the world. You are not an empowered woman if you go out and have sex with whoever you want. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care how pissed off you get at me. You are not empowered. You're a dipshit. This is not helping women become empowered. It's doing nothing for us as women. Nothing. This has nothing to do with me being ultra right and super conservative. And no, you are not empowered. It is not healthy for your mind. It's not healthy for your spirit. It's not healthy for your body. I'm not telling you can't have multiple partners, but I'm telling you that this idea of I can sleep with whoever I want is the opposite of empowerment. I promise you it is. So I just wanted to talk about this and vent about it because I'm so and I'm pretty thick-skinned. Like, I definitely am, you know, I'm definitely deeply sensitive in one way, but I mean, whatever. These are strangers off the internet. And I'm sitting here for 30 minutes, trying to almost explain myself. And then I'm like, this is just because we just live in this world with these ultra left and ultra right people who can't find the balance. So at one point I was just like, you're right. She's like, you take a good hard look at yourself. You know, you have no emotional intelligence. And I was like, does this person know what emotional intelligence is? I put out an opinion backed up with some facts on social media, didn't attack anybody, but women were just so angry that I was women coming from this perspective of yeah, this really isn't empowerment, and I'm not really impressed by all these women doing this. And then it was the assumption of women spreading their legs. And I was like, I am writing as a woman from a heterosexual woman's perspective. I can't write as a man. And it was funny because Tim is the guy who posted all of this in the first place. He's not going to get involved. I don't need him to come save me. But someone did say, why are you making this about women and leaving men out? And he's like, men weren't left out. It's in black and white in the essence of my post, and it's in the video. So it's amazing to me how women just this is what I'm talking about. It's a sickness. It's like a virus in society where women have been so brainwashed. I'm going to say brainwashed into this idea of things that we need to do to take back our power that are not necessary, We've gotten so far away from honoring the feminine essence and the masculine essence. This has nothing to do with rape or violence, abuse, sexual, mental, emotional. And you know, if these women ever knew my history, I mean, they're like barking up the wrong tree. It's really fascinating. But I think women and men are being brainwashed to really be pitted against one another. This needs to stop. We've got to stop being manipulated and controlled so much by the information on the internet and social media, especially. And that's how all these agendas are being created, is because they're using our cell phones to literally brainwash generations of people. And, you know, you cannot deny the core, the basics of men and women's physiology and psychology. You know, I was even as bold enough to say to this one woman, if a woman offers up sex, a man is going to take it because it's primal. It's in a man's nature. Again, I'm not talking about non-consensual sex. But if a woman is saying, I'm going to give it to you, a man is going to say, I accept, because that's his nature. You know, sex is so primal. We're primed for it. We're supposed to be having sex. Really good, healthy, fun, adventurous sex. But we've taken it to this whole other level. It's like, holy shit, people, just put this in perspective. You know, and then we get attacked for saying the reality of the world is most men are going to say, yeah, you want to have sex with me? Okay. Men are craving these casual encounters as much as women. It's unilaterally driven. Am I saying that right? Maybe I'm not saying that right. It is driven by both men and women, both sexes. And all I'm saying is that for a man, emotionally, mentally, and physically, he can handle it better. That's a fact. It's a fact. Unless you are an anomaly of a woman who can completely detach, a woman attaches to a man emotionally through sex. Not so much for men. This is why every expert out there, every psychotherapist will tell a woman, you need to create an emotional connection with a man before you sleep with him. Men say this. I hear men telling women this all the time. I've had male therapists tell me this. Oh my gosh. You know, it's like we're in these crazy times where when you try to siphon out men's psychology versus women's psychology and men's physiology, women just want to put us in the same boat. We are not the same. We're not the same. Men and women are not equal. I'm all for equal rights. If I'm working the same job as a dude, I want to get paid the same amount. Especially if I know more than him or I'm better at the job. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But men and women are not equal. Equal means the same. We're not the same. We're different. That's it. What am I saying that is so misogynistic? What am I saying that is so insane? To me, it is so insane to deny this. You know, this is why women are losing their feminine essence. This is why there's role reversal. Men are becoming more feminine. Women are becoming more masculine. It's not good. It's not going well. It does not look good for the home team. And you know, to the point of all of this, the guy that I was hiking with, who's married and happily married, and we actually talked about, I was supposed to meet his wife. They were going to come to yoga. You know, he's from India. He knows like real yoga. And he was actually a hiking guide in the Himalayas out in India for a stint, which is really fascinating. But I was supposed to meet his wife. So he's like, you know, I'm going to try to get, you know, Jen to come to one of your yoga classes. And he's like, let's go on a camping trip together. And when they met, they were in an open relationship. He is 12 years younger than me. This is definitely a younger thing. I am not judging it. I'm interested. I'm curious. I can't do it. It's why I'm still single. I swear it's why I'm still single. Every guy I meet just wants to like, well, let's just fuck around at first and see what happens. I can't do it. It's none of my nature. It does nothing for me. And so they were in an open relationship for 6 months. And he said to me, why can't you do it? I said, I just can't. And he said, but sex is sex. Like, just separate it out. I said, I can't. And he said, well, I admit it did get harder. And then that's when, you know, him and his wife sat down and said, like, we want to close the relationship and commit to one another. And, you know, he was telling me, like, I was like, how did it work? Like, I don't really like understand how this works. I'm very ignorant in this area. And he said, well, there was like, he goes, I'll never forget the day where like I was with Jen all day. And then she went to go be, and he named the guy. And then he was going to go be with this girl named Maria. And he said it was after that night that he was like, I don't really think I want to do this anymore. And I'm like, yes, see, I can't do that. It does nothing for me. I really crave and want and desire true partnership and connection. And again, I am not telling anybody what to do. I have many friends who were in open relationships and then end up marrying the person that they like the best. If that's what you need to do, do it. But I can tell you that every woman that I talked to in an open relationship, they were doing it because they liked the guy so much and they were agreeing to it because that's what he wanted. I'm not saying there are not women out there who aren't like, I loved being in an open relationship and that's what I wanted. A high majority of the women that I talked to were like, it was really the only way that I could date so-and-so. And a lot of them were going on dates, but not sleeping with anybody else. And again, some of them were. And if that's who you are and you're comfortable doing that and you can siphon it out and be completely detached, that's great. Good for you. But I think the reason why there is so much inauthenticity and so much disconnection in terms of real relational, in terms of like relational connection and intimacy, this is why so many people are struggling out there, because I think deep down there is a deep craving for real connection. And I think most of us are designed to be in partnership. And I don't think we're supposed to be raising our kids. Our kids aren't supposed to be bouncing from one home to another. They're not supposed to be bouncing back and forth, and we're supposed to be raising our kids. I mean, as a village, but definitely within a partnership, not as a single person. And so there's this decay of all of that. And, it might sound like I'm trying to hold on for dear life to all of these conventional traditions. But again, I'm really going by like the meat and bones of basic psychology of men and women and our physiology and what drives us. And what drives us is very different. And to deny that is just silly. I mean, to me, it's just silly. I don't know. What do you think? Have a great day, y'all. Love you. Pieces.